All right, Ingram Smith, Bud Elliott, back again for another episode of the Nolecast. It's a Sunday evening episode that we'll do the Nolecast. We'll have a good conversation. This team's 11-0. Obviously, there'll be a somber tone to everything that we talk about tonight, based off what transpired last night. Want to thank our sponsors. Want to thank our sponsors who make podcasts possible. The great people at Prize Picks, and the run that Bud's been on all year has been incredible. And always want to thank Louisiana Hot Sauce for what they do to make this podcast possible. So, yeah, man, I haven't had a chance to listen to your incident, Bud. That's on me. Have heard a lot of good, positive things about it. It's tough. I don't want to spend I don't want to do 40 minutes on Jordan Travis. I just don't think that'd be good content, and I'm not a particularly emotional person, but I don't know that I can do that either. So I'll just say real quickly, like Jordan the person, I've gotten to know a decent amount this year through stuff at the Battle's End. I'm not, like best friends with Jordan Travis or something like that, but I do know the kid fairly well. He's very respectful. He works very hard. I do know his family very well. I've gotten to know his dad and mom and brother through this process, and I hurt for them. I can't imagine what that experience was, and going through the senior day activities where you're out there on the field with your son, who's been one of the more important players for one of the more important programs in the history of the sport. And 20 minutes later, he's on a golf cart getting taken off the field. And that's I can't imagine what that was like. I do know that that's an incredible family. They love each other dearly. They're very close knit. And that Jordan's got as good of a support staff between his teammates and his family that you could hope for. Also, like, I'll never be confused with like a Dabo Swinney cheerleader, but I think Dabo Swinney was one of the first people to reach out to Jordan, and Jordan's heard from a lot of different people. And Dabo may not be my style of coach, but he's by all accounts, he's a pretty good human being and a class move. So we'll open.
I did not know that. That is awesome. Dabo reached out to him. Obviously, if you follow Jordan on Instagram, that's probably the best place to go for updates on Jordan. I mean, he's a very active social media guy, and as of tonight, the updates look like he was still in the hospital. So don't know when it'll be a surgery, but I assume if you're still in the hospital that it'll be one. I mean, it just kind of seems like common sense if you saw what we all saw, and I don't really want to see again on the field. But tonight, I mean, it was. Did you see the latest one? Like how packed that room is? That's no, I don't know what time visiting hours are over, but man, they are. That they pack some folks in there for sure. It like everybody's pouring, and Jordan, I when Jordan said block that shit, talking about the field goal that North Alabama like called a timeout to line up to kick. I think a lot of that was like all of us, right? It was like, yeah, block that shit, man. What are we doing here? So, man, it just your heart breaks for him. It sucks that I honestly I don't think my instance worth really listening to, man. I think I just comped it to the Dennis Dixon injury. If you guys remember back in like 2007 when Oregon had a pretty good shot to win the national title that year, and his thigh bone just slips off his shin bone in the desert, and it was like, oh, okay, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks. I think you pray basically that he, that he's like not long-term impacted by this. I would be shocked if he can return to play this year. Like, just absolutely shocked.
I've heard every rumor in the world. I don't know anything. Honestly, you just need to wait. I mean, there's nothing to know until they.
Right.
There's going to be a surgery almost certainly needed. Until that happens, they won't know for sure. So don't, I wouldn't put too much stock into it one way or another until there's more clarity. So,
agreed. Yeah, I'm not a doctor. I'm just like people in the chat were asking, like, do we think he can be back by Louisville? No, I like 100% no, guys. That hopefully, like, honestly, I hope for them that like they didn't see it, because ESPN stopped showing the replay. Thankfully, dude, I know you weren't watching it live on TV. They cut to like the studio, and it was Booger and I think Nagandi, and Booger and Nagandi did not know what they were going to show, and it hit up. It was kind of, I was like, oh man, okay, everybody's surprised here again. No man, I just hope look that he's back and ready for like the combine, and that there's no long-term damage. FSU's doctors got out there with the quickness, and thankfully they did, right? So, a lot of questions people have here. We're not going to do a 40-minute podcast, but like, I mean, Jordan, if that's it, really, really special career, man. I mean, one of your best to ever play quarterback here, right?
Yeah.
Sucks.
Absolutely. One of the best guys, and in time maybe seen as one of the most important players in this program's history, certainly the more recent part of it, and led this team and led this program to heights that I'm not sure that a lot of people thought was possible. And Jordan also, and this is just me speaking from like the battles in part of it, you could have no greater person than to partner with Jordan. And Jordan has been an incredible ambassador, and he's also handled all that comes with NIL and stuff in a manner that I do think has permeated this roster as well, as far as just not letting, the modern aspects of the sport change either how you approach practice, how you treat people in the program, or anything else. So I can only say that that's one of the more impressive young men that I've had the chance to interact with. And when you meet his parents and his brother and everybody around him, you realize why. So my heart is with them, and hope to see him soon. And it's like I said a second ago, he's got as good of a group of people around him as anybody could hope to have.
So, Tate Rodmaker, 4th-year junior, son of a high school coach, big arm, decent athlete. I don't think he's as unathletic as some people sort of assume. Doesn't seem to throw with very good anticipation. Certainly doesn't have the pocket mobility and escapability that Jordan does. If you're going to win these next 2 ball games, you are going to need him to step up quite a bit. Yeah. You're also going to need him. You'll need everybody else to step up around him. I believe he played, if my timeline's right on this, he had to have played with Jaheim Bell in high school, right? Like on the same team.
They were teammates at Valdosta. Was having a conversation with a mutual friend of ours last week, and I said a conversation that we had back and forth running for quite a while. I just brought it up. I said, I need to amend something that I've thought, and that was that had Brooklyn not gotten his injury with his hand, that he would probably be your starter by the time Georgia Tech was here. I don't know that I know that anymore. I'm not at practice all the time, but when I am out there, and particularly recently, I've been really impressed by what Tate has done and the progress that he continues to make and the decisions that he has made. And I don't know that, the anticipatory throws are something that we'll see how that evolves over time. But his decision-making has grown leaps and bounds, and he's starting to do a pretty impressive quarterback. So excited to see what's out there he is a better athlete than people believe. He's never going to get confused with Jordan Travis as far as the ability to take it 70 yards or something like that. But trust me, if Tate tucks it and run, he's got all the ability in the world to pick up 8, 10, 12 yards at a time. Smart player, good athlete, and obviously the offense will look different. But I'm excited to see what they can do with some of the quick throw game. And Tate has grown a lot, and it's a good thing that he has, and excited to see what he looks like with this opportunity.
So, I mean, I'm of the opinion that most likely next year your starter is Brock or a transfer. That doesn't mean Tate won't have a shot to win it. I think he will have a shot to win it. But if I'm setting the odds, that's sort of what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that Brock's the right guy right now. I mean, I know I was talking to some of our sponsors, right? And they're like, let's go to Brock. Tate looks really rocky to start. I was like, look, man, I mean, the staff gets to see this guy every day. They know like what he scores on the little like iPad quizzes and stuff they give. In a moment of pretty extreme adversity where you're down 13-0 for an FCS team has faked a punt on you and thrown like 4 or 5 crazy little trick plays. Pretty nice ones, by the way. Like the good North Alabama. I don't know if you want to waste those there. Like you think you're going to shock the world as a 50-point underdog, but all right, you got on national television, so that's useful, I guess, for North Alabama. You're going to go to the guy you trust to make the fewer mistakes, right? We're not really looking for the upside play at that minute against North Alabama. We just want the guy that will not have this thing go completely off the rails. I mean, from the people I talk to, FSU staff does think they can go win these next 2 games with Tate. Will win? Probably, because you're always going to have great belief in what you're doing, right? He's not unplayable. Is he good? I'm not going to go that far. Is he average? Maybe. Like we'll see. Like I'm not. This is a to me, this is a significant drop off. Like I'm using like a full 7-point drop off in terms of like for a point spread type thing. I don't know if that's what everybody else will use out there, but I mean, I thought Jordan was playing pretty well. He got you out of a lot of trouble, and he also, mostly due to his taking care of the ball, a little bit of luck, but like he had taken care of the ball this year fairly well. Jordan had. I mean, I think he only had 2 picks and 1 fumble, 2 fumbles. Not many, like very few turnovers on the year. So, I mean, I agree with you. Like I think they're going to have. It's probably more RPO game. He does seem to have a nice comfort running that. The last couple times that he's had to come in, that's what they've done with him. Florida will know that and see that, and we'll see how that goes in the swamp. We'll do a little more formal Florida preview coming up. So yeah, Florida will see that. Can they stop it? Possibly, but teams have also really eaten up that defense all year. I think you saw some encouraging things in like. I don't think Johnny and Keon are getting less healthy. Knock on wood, right? Jaheim was out there for most of the night, and against Miami, he couldn't be. It seemed so. You're going to need certain guys to step up. Obviously, like the tight ends in general have to block better. I mean, we've been harping on that since the Pitt game. Just you can't have those whiffs and olays like they continue to have there. Like that position is letting you down in the run game. That kind of stuff with a quarterback like Tate on the road, that'll get you beat. You can't have these negative 4-yard runs because we had an Olay. And I don't mean the O-line. I mean like certainly O-line has some of that. How much confidence do you think the team will have in Tate?
I think this is a very special group that's very close knit, and I think they believe in Tate Rodmaker. I mean, some of Tate's more rough showings are so far in the past that I don't really know that there's a whole lot of carryover. Obviously, had a great moment in Louisville last year, and he is impressive in practice. I mean, they know that it's there. It goes out, carries over in a game consistently. We'll see. But I'm fully there with you that I think this team fully believes and expects to win the next 2 games. So,
Yeah. DraftKings new playoff odds are out. You went from 76% to make it last week to 25% to make it now.
wow.
I don't know what Caesars will have. They're usually not drastically different. Which, keep in mind, that's basically assuming you're going to win or you're going to lose one of the next 2, I think. Or a large part of that is that you're likely to lose one of the next 2.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Is that a prediction on losing the next 2, or is that some belief that you could be 13-0 and the playoff committee could deem a Jordan Travis less Florida State team as not one of the 4 best teams in the country?
So I think that's what perfect segue, right? I think that is mostly based on the idea that like Vegas thinks you're going to lose one of the next 2.
Okay,
maybe both. Don't know. I mean, you're what a
well, you're a 10.5 point favorite against Florida.
No, that I saw some outlets put that out. That's not correct. That was like some odd screen that still had the odds before that. You're going to be a 10-point favorite over Florida with Jordan. Now you're 6.5.
Okay.
So like you were going to be like 10.5, 11 with Jordan. Now you're 6. Now you're 6-ish.
Yeah.
6.5. So yeah, like that's not. I mean, you're probably. I don't know. What do you think? Like 70-30 to win in Gainesville? It's far from a lock. Now, Florida also has some problems of their own, by the way. I don't know if you watched the end of that ball game, but left tackle Austin Barber didn't play. Right tackle Damian George went down, did not return. And Graham Mertz broke his collarbone or fractured it or whatever and was in a sling. So you lose Maurice Smith, you lose Jordan Travis. They lose both offensive tackles and Graham Mertz. I think what you lost matters more than what they lost. Like Travis is way better than Mertz. So you'd rather be like, hey, can I have all my guys back? I'll give you all your guys back. Deal? Like let's play at full strength.
It's a banged up team as in addition to the 2 guys that you just mentioned. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are we'll see. Got 5 days before Florida, so I don't want to be. I think there's a lot of guys battling a lot of different things. So we'll see. Deloach didn't play last night. We'll see how that goes. I didn't expect him to play based off practice. You just got some guys beat up. Not appropriate for me to share injury stuff about dudes, but there are a lot of guys putting a lot of gritty efforts in to get out on the field.
Yeah, this team this year has, with the obvious exception of Jordan, been fortunate to not have guys be done for the year, but they have had a lot of guys who are like real banged, and like missing games because of it, and just some stuff that's just chronic. Will probably have to get cut on, at the end of the year in some cases, and if not, like you're just going to need a long off season, to heal up. As far as the second part of the question you asked, is there any chance FSU gets left out if they do go 13-0? Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would be idiots to look at these odds and DraftKings is not gospel. It's just the first one that comes out. But look, I mean, reasonably, the committee is going to look at the team and say, how are they playing with Tate? Right now, if they're playing well enough to win these 2 games in difficult environments, well, Charlotte's not, but it's still a pretty decent team in Louisville. The Swamp at night will be a difficult environment. If they're playing well enough to win, I think it would be a difficult argument to make that FSU shouldn't be in. But it's going to depend on how they look. We only really have one data point for this, right? In 2014, Cardell Jones for Ohio State. So Braxton Miller went down and JT Barrett went down. And Ohio State was having to play Wisconsin. And they were actually like a 5-point dog to Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game with Cardell Jones. And they won 55-14 over like a top 10-ish or whatever. Like a pretty decent Wisconsin team, at least, right? Probably about a Louisville caliber team. And it was very decisive that okay, wow, like 55, huh? That's a lot. That team also had Zeke Elliott on it and some other, real studs, just as you do. So you also had the tomfoolery of the Big 12 not awarding a conference championship that year because like, we have co-champions, TCU and Baylor, neither of which are brand names. So it wasn't like, I kind of think in 14, Ohio State, they thought Ohio State had the best roster. Cardale didn't come here to play School Jones.
Love that.
59-0. Okay, sorry. 59-0. I knew it was a pretty big number. Probably should look that up. It'd be better podcasting. It kind of like gave him a nice in to leave him in, and then the Big 12. It's not like you're putting them over name brands, right? I do want to point out that last episode we said, hey, Washington will probably jump you because they're going to have another top 25 win over Oregon State if they do win. That was pre-Jordan Travis's injury. So if that happens on Tuesday night, I wouldn't really freak out about that because, again, we already told you there's a pretty good chance that happens because Washington's resume looks better with another top 25 win. But if you go out and you look good, right, you keep Florida from going to a bowl, that won't be an impressive win. It'll be over a 5-17 if you beat the Gators. If you lose, the conversation is over. But you're going to have a Louisville team that's a one-loss team. Like you beat Louisville in the conference championship game, they're going to be like top 15-ish still. That's a pretty solid win for you. So to answer your question, the 26% to make it in from DraftKings, I think is mostly rooted in the Vegas expectation that you don't go undefeated the rest of the way. There is probably some allowance there for, hey, they go undefeated. They don't look very good doing so. And the committee decides to take somebody else who looks really impressive, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. No, it'll just play out. I personally, we'll get into the previews. We'll look at it more. I think Florida State wins the next two games, and we'll see what happens from there and how the committee responds accordingly. So,
I mean, you have now played, Vatek backup quarterback, Cuse hurt starter, Duke hurt starter and backup, Wake hurt starter. Wait, that was Griffiths. Yeah. Pitt backup, Miami backup, North Alabama's whatever. So you've played 7 games in a row without facing like even a decent FBS quarterback at full health.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get an 8th here in Gainesville. Yeah, we'll see. Khalil, I'll hear the argument for Drones being better than Wells, but honestly, like if you watched him pass the ball last night against NC State, there's a reason he didn't win the job coming out of camp. Like it's a very, very limited passing sample. My point is, I still have major doubts about FSU's defense shutting down good offenses, but I have no doubt about their ability to shut down bad offenses. And I'm not saying Florida's offense is bad, but quarterback play, like we will see what happens. Like they got to run a backup out there too. I think your personnel is a little bit better than theirs. Mm-hmm. So you'll need a monster effort from the defense for sure. All right, what else do we like from the game?
I mean, the game was just a wash. I don't know. Tate looked nice. All the things having to do with the 2013 team were really cool. I shared an elevator with James Winston yesterday. That was a nice moment, bud. I also got a kick out of. I looked out my window today, and Jameis and his family walked down to that thing that's on the corner of Woodward and Gaines. That it's the circle, the traffic circle with the taking a picture of that, and just cracked me up. And it's also a reminder that this is a college town for these guys. It's them going back and experiencing all the things that that the rest of us do when they go back to school and have places in town that are special to them or whatever else. It's great to see so many of those 2013 guys, and a team that obviously still exceptionally close, and got to talk to some of the different players at the tailgate beforehand, and it's just great to hear about how many group texts those guys are all still in to this day, and how close of a group that is, and it was great for them to be celebrated. So that, for my opinion, was the best part of yesterday's game.
Are you surprised Jimbo did not show?
I had a popular Houston radio show call me on Friday at 3:00 asking if he was, because that was the hot rumor around town, and I said that would blow me away. I'm like, he might be here to see his son or something, but like, no, I don't think Jimbo's not going to walk down the legacy walk with the 2013 team or something like that. So, Jimbo can go. He's got a lot of money and a lot of time on his hands, and looks like West Virginia's won 8 games or something like that this year. I mean, Neil Brown's not going anywhere, so we'll see what happens with Jimbo moving forward.
I'm getting some crap here for drinking from a Stanley. From Troy. Troy, do you think I buy cups for my house?
Oh, Troy was also the guy that thought I was really drunk, which I don't know why. What about tonight would have made you think that?
I think you're just down. Like, man, I don't know about like I've been down all day. Like my group chats right now are just like freaking depressed. It sucks,
trash, man. Yeah,
man. Like, yeah, today sucks completely.
2 interceptions for Jalen Ramsey, a member of the 2013 team that couldn't make it today. So that was great to see as well.
That was awesome, man. Probably with the cup is orange. The cup is like actually like a rust color. I believe
it's a rust.
Oh, I don't have the ring light on. Okay, hold on. All right, now you guys can see it better. There you go. See, it's ring.
There you go. It's closet Texas fan. We have figured it out.
Of course. Look, I want to see this team go win the next 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see them make it a really. I want to see that committee squirm a little bit. I want to see Heather Dennis try to do mental gymnastics outside that room.
My favorite person. Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're, we'll get into it more, but if you're Jared Verse, it's a money game, right? You're going to get a backup tackle in the swamp in a game we need you to go win the ball game for us, or you're going to get a hurt, or kind of a dinged up starter, go time. So I thought the defense actually settled down and played pretty damn well. I mean, I'm not going to fault the defense for a fake punt, right? And I mean, you run a bunch of crazy trick plays, you hit one, whatever. Like, it wasn't like they were driving the ball on you a whole lot. So, Pat Payton did have a lot of really good deflections. I thought that was solid. Is there an argument to be had that Darius is a better center than this health status version of Maurice?
Very possibly. I mean, Mo is as tough a guy as you're going to meet. He's banged up, man. And a lot of these guys on both lines of scrimmage are significantly dinged. I think I said this last podcast that I was on with you. Like, the Duke game was the Louisville game last year. We just didn't know it. You didn't have any guys that were like out on the field. It took 24 hours to realize it. I'll put it that way. A lot of guys dealing with stuff. So
I also think that, like, look, man, you're going to get big time buy-in from this team, right? Like, this is a week. I'm looking at the betting board. One of the biggest things to figure out is like, all right, it's week 12. Who wants to be here?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a guy, played in the league, and he's an analyst now. And he's like, man, part of this stuff is just, sometimes it's good to have a rah-rah coach as opposed to a hard-ass X and O coach if you're not having a great year, because the rah-rah guy may be able to just get his guys up and get them super fired up for that last game of the year. But look, I mean, Mike will be in his bag for this. I'm sure he's got stuff that they have not. I'm not saying like he's going to put a ton on tape, but like they'll have some stuff, right? And I think it's probably a lot of like, hey, Tate, let's use the big arm, Tate shot plays type stuff. We'll see on some of the screens how it works. But I think you'll get really, really great buy-in from this team this week. And this is a type of week where, granted, it's Florida, so you should anyway. And for the Gators, they should get full buy-in for the Noles. But it's Thanksgiving week. It's a weird type of week, right? I think they'll get really good buy-in for the plan they're going to put in. And I think they'll go down and they'll score some points. Now, Florida's defense, we'll talk more about this on the preview, but it is hit or miss like at times. I'm a little shocked they held Missouri to 30-something at home. But, man, that last drive was not a thing of beauty. And I will say this. Winning close games is a considerable amount of luck, but there is some skill in it. I think we've been able to determine. So my buddy Tom Fernelli on Cover 3 with me, he has a good stat here. Most one-score wins without a loss this year. Louisville, Washington each have 5. Missouri, Ole Miss, Tulane have 4. Florida State and Jacksonville State have 3. You know what all those teams have in common? Offensive head coach where like the team has a clear offensive identity that is like driven by that head coach's system. And in most cases, the offense is run through the head coach as the primary play caller. Like Drinkwitz gave it up. I think DeBoer and Grubb kind of co-call it at Washington. Lane obviously calls it. Fritz at Tulane. Jack State, Rich Rod still calls it, I believe, and FSU obviously. So now you could tell me too, part of that is they have experienced quarterbacks, which I'll buy that as well from that list I just read. But being in this state, you appreciate it, not on a weekly basis, but I think you appreciate it on a monthly basis, man. Like the guys in Gainesville and the guys in Coral Gables, those teams just do bad coached stuff much more frequently than Mike's team does. Not saying Mike's team never makes boneheaded decisions. They do, of course. You're coaching college players. But like, man, Mike does not mismanage these timeouts like Mario did yesterday, right? Like Mike's kids, I mean, so rarely run out of bounds when they're trying to salt away a game. Like it's almost automatic. The attention to detail you have in Tallahassee compared to what you're seeing and I think because we hyper focus, we watch these other two teams as well. Like you see boneheaded stuff from those guys, like serious consequential stuff. What, every 5-6 games? And like that's a huge frequency with which to have it. So I just wanted to say I think there's something to be appreciative of there for sure.
Mike's one of the most organized people that I've ever encountered. And the consistency of work ethic every day it's like compounding interest, man. You just do it every day and you do it enough, and it doesn't mean you're going to bat 1,000. But a lot goes in to making sure that Saturdays are as optimal as possible. And that particular part of it, I think Mike's a better play caller and game manager or whatever than people maybe give him credit for. Sure, there's things that happen, particular plays that people might question, but
like the fan base, because I take other coaches give Mike a boatload of credit, man.
Boatload of credit.
Like
boatload of credit.
They know he can coach.
They know, absolutely. So, yeah.
It's a hard pod to do, man.
Yeah, it is. But it's just.
Did you catch Norvell get like staring daggers into the coach for trying to kick that field goal at the end?
Mike. Yeah, I did.
So watching Louisville, I mean, their quarterback is, you probably trust their quarterback a little more, but a lot of that stuff schemed up, man. It wasn't like Jack Plummer was dealing,
No,
right?
no, not at all. Not at all. I will say that not many people watched Louisville live. That
Not in
is
person.
not in person. No,
Electronically, the Hurricanes. I mean, we
the
might have.
games, I'm sure some people watched, and then even more people sat in spaces and talked about watching it. But I don't know, man. That's Miami's an interesting place right now. Well funded on the NLI side, but I don't know. What do you think attendance was there? 16,000 yesterday or something like that? I don't know. Not
45,000 apparently.
45. Okay. Good.
45
Good. I'll
in
save
spirit,
the
I
comment
guess.
about dressing as seats or disappearing or invisible or whatever else. But
Yeah, you had some Miami fans identifying as green seats, I believe.
label me skeptical on the 45.
45,000. On cover 3, I said it was bullshit by half.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to make a real guess, I would say it's probably like 31. 45 seems egregiously high. You have like entire sections that are empty. Like that's
Yeah.
That's the chat agrees, by the way. We did not see 45,000 people. I actually had a buddy there who was working, and he was sending me videos, and they were hilarious. And I would tweet one out, and my fans were like, "That doesn't count because the game is not officially started. There's still 4 minutes till the game starts."
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Okay, got it. Note to self. How about this one? This one is like 7 minutes into the first quarter. This one is, and then the other one was, this is only a minute before half because, of course, apparently half the crowd got up with a minute left of the half, even though like there was an actual drive going on in a consequential game against a top 10 team. Like everybody made a mad dash for snacks or something. I don't know. They also do like the nightclub at the game thing. Have you seen that? Yeah,
Right.
it's quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, big thanks to our sponsors. I did see Shannon yesterday and this
Awesome.
lovely wife Mia. They're just best people that you could ever hope to partner with when it comes to going through the home loan process. 844 FSU loan. 844 FSU loan. It legitimately is one of the best partnerships that any podcast could have. So been an incredible experience there. How much would it cost to pay? But yeah, that's funny.
I don't know, but like, do you think that FSU fans have, how FSU fans kind of took over Wake Forest this year?
I saw it. Yes, absolutely.
If you started like put the Seminole back in Seminole Hard Rock campaign right now, how many FSU fans do you think you could get down there for that game next year? Like, you think like more than half? Like, could it be like a 70-30 visitor crowd?
Well, I guess you don't know where in the schedule it falls. I mean, it's the only game that they have people come out to, but it could be 50-50. Absolutely. It could be 60-40, even depending on when it is and, how many games they've dropped beforehand. Now, so they play UF next year, correct?
And UCF.
Okay, so those games are fixed, are they not? So do we know where that game falls on the schedule?
I can
Not
pull
as
it
though
up.
UF is some, automatic loss by any means.
No, I would agree.
As we're getting
that one is August 31st. That's August 31st in Gainesville. And then we have
that's opener. Wow. I didn't realize
they get FAMU and Ball State, and then they go play at USF.
Okay.
And we get 2 bye weeks next year, by the way.
Because of the Ireland trip?
I believe it's because I'm not really sure why. For FSU, for sure. Are we trying to guess what day this game will be?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was loosely what I was trying to just get an idea. But, yeah.
Hopefully earlier in the year. I don't love this like November Miami game. It doesn't feel right to me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. Jackie, sorry about that, Jackie. Okay. Sorry, just reading through some of the comments here. We got a lot of comments tonight. We got a lot of live viewers. I mean, hey, go win the next 2 ball games. You know, your goals that we thought were achievable / reasonable were in front of you, right? You already met your most basic of goal this year that I know we had said on this pod before. The thing is, like, you have to make it back to the ACC championship game. All right, let's go get more goals.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go see. You know, let's go see what they can do. Jeremy wants more positives about the team instead of crapping on rivals. I mean, look, I think you're positive to remain your positives. The problem is your negatives aren't getting any better. Your O-line doesn't appear to be getting healthier, right? You're going in the wrong direction there. You're getting kind of more banged up, not less. Now, if your receivers get a little healthier, I think that helps you quite a bit. But I don't know. I don't think this team's on fumes, but it doesn't feel primed for a jump.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, I think Florida will come out and play hard, but I don't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it'd be weird for them to mail it in. But again, I don't know, man. Like that 4th and 17 play was weird.
Mm-hmm.
You got a guy celebrating doing the incomplete signal as the Missouri receiver runs for the first down.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a strange couple. Did you see much of that Auburn game yesterday?
I only saw bits and pieces. We've been doing this bit where so Jerry Kill, I love him as a coach, and he basically has been wearing his military appreciation gear for 6 weeks now, and it's kind of a bit. And I mean, did you see Pavia body slam the Auburn player?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Yeah. That's a really good staff. If Jerry Kill was not as old as he was and he didn't have the seizure problems, he probably doesn't leave Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it's all right. More. Oh, did you like Singleton yesterday?
Mm.
Yeah.
Some things to work with there. A lot of things to work with at that position. Your future's bright. Future's bright at skill positions in general. I'll say that.
I think your future's bright. Like, I mean, really all over this team. You know, I was playing the schedule game in my head for next year. I was like, look, honestly, it's probably that 7-5 to 12-0 range. Absolutely, you take that with a midline, probably more of 9-3ish. You know, maybe you can go 10-2. I think you've done a pretty nice job developing some of these players that you have, who are young guys who are getting in the games now. Some, but they're continuing to shine in practice. Some, there's certain spots you got to continue to shore up. You know, still nervous as hell about defensive line overall, but that's just something they got to get better at. You know, from the high school recruiting standpoint, and we'll see if they can.
If you want a stealth storyline that took place last week that might not have caught people's attention, didn't Lucas Simmons get cleared?
Is that public now? I think so.
I believe they referenced it in an interview after practice.
Okay.
Don't need to go into details, but that's massive. That is absolutely massive. So that's a kid with all the upside in the world. So big deal that might have gotten lost in some of the other conversation and other things that were going on last week. Want to thank our friends at Congruity. Guys, you know, I've dialogued with Matt Lewis probably more times than he'd like me to. Sometimes over the course of a week, and he's been a great resource for the Battle's End. He's been a great resource for the Nolecast and Congruity, and Matt Lewis and his team have been great for, I believe, 12 Knoll affiliated businesses now. So fantastic people, whether or not you need help with payroll or HR or just whatever it may be, an aspect of your business that you can think be more optimized, congruityhr.com. And Bud, Friday night, went to dinner with a guy that's a Nolecast listener and has a really interesting job with Florida State and a congressional aide, and went to Charlie Park, and it was
Nice.
it was great, dude. Really, really good. I will tell you that I'm going to double down on the lemon curd toast with bruschetta. I know that sounds a little strange. Honestly, you could have it as an appetizer. You could have it as a dessert. It's fantastic. A lot of different things on the menu there that jump out. Charlie Park, incredible place, and fortunate to be able to partner, that we're able to partner with them.
Chad asking about certain guys leaving the class. Look, guys, I mean, I referenced this on the last pod. I don't think we're going to go into it too much. You're recruiting as an undefeated college football playoff contender after winning double-digit games last year. Okay. Your recruiting is leveling up. There are just going to be some guys who you take back when you weren't great, who don't profile as guys who can make an impact for you if it appears you are progressing to where you want to be. That's about the nicest way I can say that. And it is so important to find the right fit. The player has to find the right fit for their talent level that will allow them to get on the field. Games got played. It's much better that it happens now than it happens once a guy gets on campus and realizes he doesn't have the ability to play there. Won't be the first, probably won't be the last. The top of the class is getting better. So anyway, that's just that's what I will say about that. Sorry, just going through the chat. We got a really lively chat tonight, man. That is fantastic. Yeah, no, I think you and I are both still really high on Simmons for the long term. I mean, it sucks he had to, miss time like that, but like obviously it's amazing that he's cleared now, and Atkins has to be totally thrilled, that he gets to work with the guy like that now. People think Pat Surtain is an awesome hire. Yeah, that's 100% is. I agree. I think that's a really, really good hire. Did you catch the moment on Cover 3? I realized that Restrepo got shut down so bad that Chip and Tom thought he missed.
No, he wasn't injured. He just got erased.
He just got clamped.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah.
You just got erased. And they're like, oh. No, I like that. Good clip.
Let me see what else. I thought Keziah Holmes ran pretty hard. You moved the ball pretty well when Tate came in, despite some drops. So if you can get those cleaned up a little bit, that would be awesome. Tate definitely has he seems to be fairly comfortable at times throwing some of these in-breaking routes to the big body guys, especially Johnny. So that'll be something. Jordan did that at times too. There are some things you can work with. I think with Tate to go win 2 ball games. I had a guy ask me tonight, he's like, do you think FSU could win a playoff game with Tate? I was like, I'm glad you used the word could. Do I think they could? Yeah, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility based on his physical skill set. Do I think they would? I mean, probably not, but like hell, if you make it to the college ball playoff after losing Jordan Travis, like guys, come on, that would be an awesome accomplishment. People see some shades of Blackman in Tate Rodmaker style. That's a pretty good comp, actually, right?
See, body style, absolutely. Tate's got a little bit of a different throwing style, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit more compact, but I can see the comparison there, definitely.
100%. What else do we got here in the chat? Do they keep the same coaching staff for the next season? I think the odds say no. That's not like, hey, this guy's getting fired.
Basically, that would be,
very unlikely.
Be unlikely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll probably be Probably be some changes there if I had to guess, right? How about some love for Jerry and Jones? I thought we just gave him some love for sure. So, look, the program is not falling apart. It absolutely sucks to lose Jordan Travis. Mike and Alex Atkins will have to get in their bag, and you're going to need the defense to play their butts off in Gainesville and hold Florida to something in the teens or low 20s, right? And if you do so, I think there's enough leaks. Also tempo. Florida's got some really fat guys up front. I don't mean that as euphemism for big dudes. Like the one kid is really fat, and tempoing him makes a lot of sense. So you don't want to give him a big breather. They actually ran a little bit of tempo last night, and I think they've been trying to incorporate it more. Look at what they did to Miami, right? It wasn't always super fast tempo, but it was get up to the line type stuff, preventing substitutions. I think tempo would make a hell of a lot of that's not insider information. That's just common sense when you see how UF has worn down in some of these games. The Jackson kid they got from Memphis, though, is a freaking stud. And that is where having Darius be able to fill in for Maurice, if Maurice can't go, could really matter. Because that guy is I'm not gonna say first rounder for sure, but I'd be surprised if he's not a top 100 pick. That'll be an important guy to ID. We'll probably get a Florida guest on this week. I think I've got a couple good ones in mind. It's always kind of tough to get them on during a Thanksgiving week. But I think you have better players than Florida overall. I think you have better coaches. I don't think this thing is crumbling, right? And if you go get that one, you might as well go get the next one too.
Yeah.
So, do I think Norvell will simplify the play calling to help Tate process things faster? Yes, but that's not really a knock about hey, Tate doesn't get it. It's more like Mike and Tate are going to sit down and they're going to say, hey, what concepts give you the most comfort? What do you like to run? Okay. When I call play in, what do you be like? All right, cool. I like this. Let's go execute this. When I call this in, what do you think? Do you like this? Is this something? Because you're going to be in an uncomfortable situation being in the swamp. You want to make sure that the play call doesn't make you uncomfortable. So they'll get on the same page with that. Of course, they'll pare it down. Jordan Travis was a millionth year senior who also had great mobility and a zillion years in this system and a ton of experience and a hell of a lot of confidence. So yeah, I guarantee you Mike and Tate sat down this morning or this afternoon, right? There's no way that that they didn't. It won't be what you had against Louisville in 22, that was extremely pared down. But yeah, guys, I think they'll have something for them. We'll see. Got to go execute it. It'll never be easy, but also a really important week coming up for 0, for 44, for Fisk, guys like that. We also don't know who's playing for Florida, but if they don't have those two tackles,
I don't. There's some question in the chat about whether Daryl Jackson would be available for the ACC championship, and I do not believe he would be.
It's the same semester, right? So I would think no.
Yeah, it's postseason. It's not a regular season ban. It's just how the way that the playoffs happen to fall. So, yeah,
exactly. All right, man. That's pretty much all I got. I think. Unless we got any more chat questions. Let's see.
Nah.
We'll say no, and then 6 of them will flood in as soon as we hit in. So I'll give it 10 seconds here. Digital 1OG says he thinks Tate takes off more than Jordan would. Hey, I'm not opposed to him taking off some.
No, I mean, we'll see. I think you may be right about that, actually. But, we'll see what it looks like. But I would.
Top 3 starting receivers next year. It'll be 3 out of basically these 5. Williamson, Portier, Hakeem, Jacobs. Maybe a player to be named later if you happen to have like a stud freshman. Who knows? Jakai, right? Like
Did you say Destin?
I did not say Destin. This is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I just named off 7. Right? Like that's pretty good, right? Ultimately.
But Dustin Hill and Hakeem Williams are that's a great first 2 to build around. I'll put it that way.
This is why I think these Miami fans are like, oh, but like FSU built a team, not a program. This is why I think they're idiots. That was a question we had like 24 months ago. Right? It's clear that the steps that they're making in terms of retaining good players, like through the battle's end, and doing a better job recruiting, like that matters. Like they're not building just a team. They're trying to build more of a program, more sustainable. Like, do we think next year will be a national title year? Unlikely, I would say, but still like a year FSU fans will be proud of, a year where you don't look back and say, oh my God, everything that we accomplished last year is all for naught this year. Like I'm not projecting some massive step back for this team, in part because the schedule as well. Like there are a certain number of teams in this league now where you're just not going. I mean, Louisville lost to Pitt, so this is dumb to say, but like you're very unlikely to lose like more than one of these games that are like maybe making up like half your schedule. So that's a good problem to have. Like those receivers I named off are really good. Other college coaches are going to look at that and they're going to say, man, got the binoculars. Okay, who's starting for FSU? Who's not? Let's see if we can go get 1 or 2 of these guys to transfer off. I'm sure. Just like McLean this year.
You'd be right.
Penn State.
You'd be right. Yeah. Let's see. I think there was one other question in chat that I was going to answer.
Did we start it?
No, I don't think I did. Cool.
Look,
appreciate you putting up with us. It's not the easiest podcast to do, but look, an incredible season. You got 2 games left that you're absolutely sure as to win and who it's against. Go finish it. 13-0 is a hell of a number, and this team is a special team that has a chance to go out and end in a very special manner. So,
is this true that we're bringing the band?
I hope so. I can get an answer on that. Absolutely. Okay. I know that Florida State doesn't have like a pep, like some schools will do a reduced size band that travels.
Right. The pep squad, yeah.
The Marching Chiefs don't do that. So it's either, well, my understanding, I'm not an expert on the Marching Chiefs, but my understanding is if they're going, they're all going. So that'd be great. And I might have mentioned this. I'm losing my mind recently. I can't remember when I said stuff, but I was watching like a 1992 Florida State Georgia Tech game recently, and the band was on the road there, and it was just awesome to hear how loud the Chiefs are, and it's a great soundtrack to have on the road behind you. So I very much hope they're there.
You want to pop a pack?
Let's do, and then let me get back to Atlanta so that I can pull some of my my old cards, and we can look at that. That'd be good.
All right. If you guys have stayed long enough, this is something I mentioned on the prior show. Good buddy John and Raleigh. These are awesome. First edition Florida State Seminoles trading cards, collegiate collection. Dion is on the cover of this.
Oh, okay.
This is probably worth some money, but I think it's also excellent show content. So here we go. Let's remember some Noles. Not remember some dudes, but remember some Noles. Should probably find a way to get this open. Okay, here we go.
We need like the hand cam that you get on the.
Sorry. Here we go.
On the on some of these unboxing or whatever.
All right, man. Here we go.
So is this a specific year? Is this like the 88 team or
this is it appears to be the 88 team, yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Oh, right from Jump Street. Look at that. Dexter Carter.
Dexter Carter. Nice.
Hell yeah.
It's a great
Dude,
start.
If you're one of our young listeners, I mean, Dexter Carter, awesome. You got the stats on the back. Oh, and they have a cool little bio. Much like fellow Seminole great Greg Allen, Dexter Carter was one of the most outstanding tailbacks for Florida State ever had. Following his spectacular career with the Seminoles, Carter was the first-round draft pick of the San Francisco 49ers and the 25th overall pick in the NFL draft. 1,826 career rushing yards, 17 touchdowns. His son, by the way, does not suck.
Yeah.
Pretty nice recruit.
Dexter, weren't Dexter Carter and William Floyd in the same backfield with each other out in San Francisco as well?
I believe so. That would, yeah, the timeline would fit there. Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Dexter was there for a while.
Gary Futch. Gary Futch from Ocala. 6'2", 240-pound. 240-pound defensive tackle. My, how times have changed.
Yeah, they have changed.
Younger brother of fellow Seminole great Greg Futch, lettered for the Tribe from 78 to 81. Starting defensive tackle for his junior and senior years. He was known as the one who could get the job done. The first 2 years of FSU career, Gary alternated between nose guard and defensive tackle, then took over as the defensive tackle spot permanently as a junior. Junior year, he was credited with 33 total stops, including 2 quarterback sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery. Following that season, Butch was a second-team Associated Press All-South Independent Choice.
Oh.
Okay, excellent. His senior year, he again earned that honor. 54 total stops, including 8 for a loss and 5 sacks. That is awesome, man. Look at that. This is cool. Yeah. All right, we do have some more cool ones here. We'll do the pack and then we'll call it a night. By the way, the Chiefs confirmed today that they are going to be full force in Gainesville.
Awesome.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Edwin Alicea, baseball.
Okay. Awesome. Multi-sport. Love it.
Multi-sport. Yes, sir. All right. Oh, this is awesome. My mom and dad will love this one. See that?
Jimmy Jordan. Yeah.
All right. Quarterback, 1976 to 1979. 4 years at FSU, Jimmy Jordan threw 595 passes, completed 298 for 4,173 yards, 39 touchdowns. He was honored by the Associated Press as the Southeastern Back of the Week versus LSU. Sports Illustrated as the National Back of the Week versus Oklahoma. This is back when they didn't call quarterbacks. They just called them backs because everybody ran the option versus Oklahoma State. And ABC TV Player of the Game versus LSU and Navy. In 76, Jordan threw FSU's longest touchdown pass, a 96-yarder to Kurt. I'm going to butcher this. Umgalab.
Okay.
This is before my time. My dad would probably know. Versus Virginia Tech. Beyond all the stats and honors, what Jimmy Jordan and his friend, fellow quarterback Wally Woodham did was win. From 77 and 79, Jordan was a key factor in making FSU a national power with a record of 29-6 and 3 straight victories over Florida. Oh. Yeah, I'm glad we opened this. This is good.
Is that the last somebody in the
chat.
Got
Bobby Bowden, dude.
That's incredible.
Yes. First pull.
That's the pull. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know if I need to read all this, but I will because this is pre-national title, I think. Yeah, they finished out the 1987 season with a true heartbreaker, number 2 in both polls. That was obviously one of the wide rights, the 25-26 game. That's it's interesting to see the way these things are written, and then just a couple years later, he wins a natty, and then another one a couple years after that. I do like how Norvell talks about him, by the way. But being in that office kind of reminds him of the standard. Let me see here. Do you know Bobby Jackson?
I do not.
I do not either, but he's from Albany, Georgia.
Albany. There you go.
He was a 6th round pick of the Jets and played 8 years in the NFL.
Does it list his high school? Did he go to Doherty?
It does not list the high school.
Okay.
5'11", 185, which back then is pretty decent size for a DB.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Does the chat remember Bobby Jackson? Bobby Jackson here, let's see.
Bobby Jackson.
I mean, look, he had to have played a decent bit. This is a little bit before my time, but I mean, Bobby Jackson to go 6th round of the Jazz is not nothing. 2 more.
Oh man,
dude, this is a hell of a pack,
bro. That's
yeah,
incredible.
I know.
That's
I know. We
incredible.
were just talking about him.
I've got a friend who would love that. That's Ron Sellers, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Battles then just announced a partnership with Ron Sellers last week, and so I've been watching a lot of highlight tapes, and that dude was just a different player at his day and time. I mean, 6'4", just incredible football player. Incredible football player. He's got a catch in a game against Alabama that you're just like, oh, I didn't know. Sounds stupid to say, but like, didn't know dudes were doing that type of stuff back then. So remarkable player.
The chat, by the way, says Bobby Jackson had FSU's all-time interception record before Buckley broke it. So
okay.
That makes me ignorant of the history. Bobby Jackson, apologize.
He's a Hall of Fame. He's an FSU Hall of Fame member too.
How did I not know Bobby Jackson?
I did not realize that.
I mean, I guess I was 2 years old, so
mm-hmm.
a lot of our listeners were like negative 25 years old. So, Ron Sellers completed his 3-year career, 66-68. No man has ever gained more receiving passes, more yards receiving passes. NCAA record, he caught 244 passes for 3,979 yards. As a result of his play, this guy's playing like a different sport, dude. As a result of his play, Sellers was a consensus All-American. Well, I would think so if you basically invented catching the ball in 67-68. Established FSU's single-game record with receptions with 16, yardage with 240, touchdowns with 5, and points with 30. Also rewrote their season record book with 12 touchdowns, 12 touchdown pass receptions, 80 passes caught, 1,496. This would be like great numbers today.
Dude, this guy played football when they did not throw. He still owns 17 different records at Florida State.
Yeah, this is like space alien type stuff. Like you're sent from the future to show everybody how to catch passes. This is I mean, like,
well, that was funny. That's funny.
Oh man, we need to laugh. Like little laugh, little kind of just like cope session. After the 68 season, his jersey number 34 was retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
FSU
doesn't retire numbers anymore, but that's a pretty rarely do.
He let it be worn by one other gentleman, and that was a smart choice. Good player.
Yes, yes, it was.
Talking about Old Ernie.
Oh man,
Old Ern.
Mm-hmm. That is all. Oh, we have one more. Sorry. Danny McManus.
Okay. This was a bat.
Dude, this is a bat. We have like 40 of these, so we might end up doing like these as YouTube shorts for the offseason and put them on the channel. I think that could be kind of cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because like I have a cover 3 idea that I'm going to do and be like, oh, hey, like Mr. Rogers style, take a bottle off the shelf and just discuss the team for like 60 seconds. But I think this for the Nolecast channel could be pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, for the chat, if you don't know Danny McManus, played quarterback for the Noles, started in 87. Pretty decent numbers. Quarterbacks threw a lot more picks back then, like a lot more. Now you can't do 14 and 9, but back then that was not as egregious. 52% passer. So again, passing was not as efficient back then, but did throw for like 2,000 yards on 260 attempts. So, oh man.
All right, brother. Thoroughly enjoyed it as much as we could. Good ending. we'll come back later in the week. Look forward to a more thorough Florida preview, and appreciate the rather significant live audience that we had tonight. So,
no doubt. I mean, what would we do, 500 something live? That was pretty solid.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, buddy.
All right, brother. Talk soon.
We are out.